Hey, what's up, contractors? Welcome back to my channel. Finding and retaining the right people for your company and crews has been an ongoing challenge across the board in the construction industry. I know I spent 15 years in the construction industry before I was in the Army, with nearly a decade of that as a general contractor, and finding the right guys for my projects was a constant challenge. So, today, in an effort to help you fill your personnel gaps, here are the top 15 places for contractors to find talent that you may not have thought of yet. Number one, supplier and rental yard counters. This is things like Whitecap, United Rentals, Sunbelt, things like that. Why? Because the counter staff and the delivery drivers see which crews are punctual, which ones are organized, which ones are respected. They also know who's between jobs. This is a great place to find foremen, operators, lead carpenters, experienced laborers, tradesmen, things like that. You can also find supers in waiting, CDL drivers, and warehouse leads in this location. So the pros of this: high signal on reliability, right? You also have warm intros via the known gatekeepers, right? The people that work there, and it's fast time to hire. Downsides: it's very relationship driven. It takes consistency, and you may have competitors that are fishing the same pond. So how do you engage? Sponsor a coffee and donuts or breakfast tacos morning, because who doesn't love breakfast tacos, right? Bring business cards with a QR code that links directly to your hiring portal that the guys can put up around the shop, and build trust with the people who know the real performers in your area. Number two, manufacturing academies and certification pipelines for things like Carlisle, Train, Lennox, Hilti, Milwaukee, things like that, right? Why this one? Well, freshly certified hands congregate here, plus ambitious installers who self-fund their own certifications will be here as well. It's the best place to find installers, journeymen, future crew leads. You can also find foreman candidates, service techs, field trainers, things like that. Pros: skills been verified, their brand supported, and the candidates are already growth minded. So they've got that going for them. Cons: it's very event-based timing, right? You have to hit at the right time, and some graduates of these programs are very green on the production pace, right? So there's going to be an up ramp for that. A couple of ways you can engage with this population is you can offer exam fee sponsorships and first look interviews for the top students of each graduating class. Make sure you coordinate with the rep for each class so you get the most bang for your buck for this. Number three, skills competitions. It's things like Skills USA state events, ABC, Associated Builders and Contractors craft championships, welding rodeos, things like this. Why? Well, you meet the top 5 to 10% of performers before they ever even touch a job board. It's a great place to find apprentices, journeymen, standout helpers, best of the best in each of their respective niches. You can also find emerging foremen, shop leads, fabricators, guys with really high skill levels who may not be readily visible in the job marketplace. The pros of this location: very merit visible. You can see how good they are. There's a quick cultural screen under pressure, right? And this is great PR for your business. Cons: is often really seasonal, right? Very limited volume. You're talking about a handful of people, and it requires on-site presence. You got to be there to engage with them. So you can do things like judge an event, donate tool scholarships. You could offer paid tryouts to finalists, right? Things that are going to matter to them. Number four, high school CTE, the career and technical education programs, and then community college adopt-a-lab partnerships. Why? Faculty referral for these types of talent beat any kind of filters that you can find. They're the best place to find helpers, apprentices, entry-level operators. You can also find assistant estimators, the BIM, the building information modeling interns, junior schedulers, especially if you're looking in the construction management programs, right? The pros for this is it is a renewable pipeline. You're always going to have fresh talent coming through these kinds of programs. There's also brand loyalty, and if you have a strong developmental program in your company, you can shape habits early through a coaching, mentorship, training program, right? Get them before they start bad habits or habits that don't align with the way that you do business, right? Downsides: it is a higher coaching load, and you've got to show up consistently to win faculty trust. Ways you can engage with them is you can supply consumables for their programs or their labs. You can offer to guest teach monthly, right? Which would be appreciated because you're an active performer in the industry, right? So you can speak to what's working now instead of only talking theoretical or textbook type things, looking at it more from an executor instead of an academic perspective. Or you could pre hire a summer cohort into paid working tryouts over the summer. All right, number 5, the Department of War, U.S. Military Skill Bridge on base transition assistance program. You also have Guard, Reserve, job fairs, things like that, tapping into our talent in uniform. Why? Well, obviously they're very disciplined, safety-minded people with leadership reps, something that the military is very good at. This is a great place to find operators, mechanics, safety techs, junior PMs, things like that. You could also find foremen, supers, logistics coordinators. There's a lot of crossover between construction industry and skills that are actively reinforced in uniform. Pros, they have strong soft skills, there's excellent retention, and you have veteran brand equity there. Downsides, there is lead time for approvals, and often there's relocation or scheduling constraints that you'll have to work around as they navigate their military contracts or their transition out of the military. Some easy ways to plug into this community and tap into this talent is to become a SkillBridge host, get involved in their transition program, help map their MOS or their military job specialties into trade roles, show them how their talents and stuff cross over and help them navigate that transition back to the civilian sector. Or you could also run 90, 120-day internships into offers. Number 6, tap into second chance workforce via vetted reentry nonprofits. Something like this would typically be through your state Department of Corrections partners. Why tap this community or in this location? Well, there's high loyalty when standards, mentorship, and zero tolerance policies are clear. I have used multiple second chance hires in previous jobs, and they are extremely hard workers, and they're very reliable when you clearly define the parameters for them. This is a great place to find laborers, demo, cleanup, warehouse, entry-level carpenters. You can also find concrete finishers, operators, and sometimes CDLs, case-by-case basis, depending on what their individual situations are. The pros of tapping this talent is they are often very motivated hires. They're just looking for someone to give them a chance, right? You can get tax credits for some of these situations, and you're having a positive impact on the community. Potential cons for this is sometimes it requires tight supervision, proactive mentoring, and clear role eligibility based on their individual situations. Tapping into this, you could possibly leverage the work opportunity tax credit or federal bonding for some risk offset there. But there's definitely value to be tapped there in helping these individuals get plugged back in as productive members of society. Number 7, CDL and heavy equipment schools. These are reliable feeders for drivers and trainee operators. If you have that in your construction company, if you in-house that, you can find great CDL drivers, the trainee operators, like I mentioned. You can also find yard leads, mechanics helpers, diesel mechanics, things like this. Some of the pros for tapping this talent is that their licenses are verifiable. There's very fast conversion into your talent pool, and it supports peak season needs for your company. The cons, they may have mixed experience, and you may need structured upskilling on your specific machines, as there may not always be apples to apples crossover. Some of the ways you can attract talent from this pool is you could sponsor seat time, or you could guarantee interviews for perfect attendance and clean safety records from graduates from these kinds of training schools. Number 8, trade licensing and exam prep or continuing education providers. We're talking about things like electrical, plumbing, HVAC, right? MEP stuff. The candidates here in this talent pool are leveling up, and you have the opportunity to potentially catch them before your competitors do. This is a great place to find journeymen, near-term foremen. You could also find service techs, low voltage installers, some of the specialty trades that don't typically frequent job boards. A couple of the pros for tapping talent from this location is that there's already a clear skill signal to the market, and they already have an advancement-oriented mindset. Cons, there's usually small batches of talent, right? So you got to coordinate with instructors, providers, and find the right people who are fit for what you do. A couple of ways you can tap into this is you could offer conditional offers, contingent on passing, contingent on a certain level of performance within the training program. You could offer to reimburse licenses after 90 days post-hire. to ensure more longevity, things like that. Number 9, local industry associations and safety councils. We're talking about ABC chapters, utility safety breakfasts, things like that, right? The people who show up for the safety meetings, they tend to be the adults in the room, the people that care about doing the right thing the first time, right? It's a great place to find foremen, supers, EHS leads. You can also find PMs, estimators, schedulers, operations support personnel, some of the higher level talent. The pros of this is you usually have high quality conversations from this talent pool. There's a huge credibility boost, and you're going to hire people who value standards. Couple of downsides is that this is typically a slower funnel, and relationship nurturing is mandatory. You're going to invest a lot of relationship capital to attract talent from this pool. One of the ways that you could tap into the talent from this pool is you could offer to give a 20-minute talk or some kind of presentation, and in your presentation with a QR code that leads to an application for a paid working interview day or something like that. Number 10, vendor-led referral program. We're talking about delivery drivers, yard reps, tool reps, all these vendor-led things, tapping referrals from them. The drivers and reps for these vendors get to see which sites run clean and which ones are productive. It's a great place to find foremen, operators, high productive laborers. You can also find supers in training and some really valuable specialty trades. Couple of big pros for this one is it's very low cost per hire, right? High signal for quality talent, and there's going to be an ongoing flow of talent for your talent acquisition processes. Couple of downsides, cons that you need to pay attention of. You need to be careful about anti-poach etiquette. We don't want to step on anybody's toes and intentionally create bad blood in the marketplace. And you need to coach your referrers for quality control on tips to make sure they're sending you the right talent. An easy way to incentivize your vendors to give you the right referrals is to pay a 2-stage bonus, right? So they get part of the bonus paid out, the referral bonus paid out when somebody starts with your company. They say yes to a job offer. And then 180 days in, after you've retained the referral and they're part of your organization, you pay out the other part of the referral bonus to your vendor. Keep it simple, keep it documented. That way it promotes quality and longevity. Number 11, job site neighbor network. What I mean by this? So if you are running a construction company or you're a contractor who typically has long duration projects, this one's especially for you, right? It is an initiative to hire local, which reduces no-shows and builds goodwill in the community that you're doing your long duration projects. It's a great place to find laborers, helpers, entry-level carpenters, possibly traffic control, cleanup crews, things like this, right? Some of the pros of tapping this talent pool is you get really fast fills. They're already plugged into the community, and it boosts your relationship with the community as a contractor, and there's typically lower travel time costs and less absence on the job site. Couple of the downsides is there's often variable skill levels between these talent pools, and it requires really tight onboarding and safety training as you're bringing these people in and up-ramping them into your processes. An easy way to tap into this talent is to use door hangers and do a quick campaign into the area immediately around your long duration project job site. Hold an open interview right at the yard and offer a short paid tryout the following week. Number 12, retirees and boomerangs as part-time leads and mentors. One of the things that guys in the construction industry are notorious for is oral tradition and using the, hey, this is what I do, passing on those oral standards instead of having things meticulously documented. So as a result, you have a lot of these retirees and boomerang hires who have 20, 30, 40 years of incredibly valuable experience. That knowledge and human capital hasn't been passed off or codified with anyone, and you can tap into that talent. Bring back steady hands 2 to 3 days a week to steady your crews and to train and mentor your up-and-coming foremen. Right? Tapping into the retiree community and looking for boomerang hires, best place to find foremen, supers, quality acceptance, quality control, coaches, things like that. You could also find owners reps, punch list specialists, guys who know exactly what to look for that younger, less experienced talent might miss. A few great pros for this is that they are culture stabilizers. They bring a lot of stability to your workforce. Rapid skill transfer, right? And there's typically low churn. They appreciate the stability. Cons, they're going to have limited hours. They're not going to be able to put in 10-hour days, 6 days a week, right? And you got to protect them from heavy labor, right? We're trying to tap into what's into their head instead of putting a lot of stuff on their back. A great way to tap into this is to offer a mentor premium and referral bounties for their former crews, because a lot of these guys have really top talent that they used to work with before they retired that they could reach out to, who would gladly come back to work for them in your company. Number 13, hyperlocal trade communities online. We're talking about community Facebook groups, Discords, niche subreddits, small YouTube or social media creators. These are tight self-policing groups with proven hands and travelers open to projects, right? This is a great place to find lead carpenters, welders, finishers, traveling tradesmen. You can also find estimators and PMs, often via niched social media groups. Some of the pros for this talent pool is it is direct reach. It's extremely low cost, and there is a very quick hiring and referral signal through the comments and references from your influencers. A couple of downsides: you must show real pay and scope. There's often uneven moderation across the different communities, so you got to navigate that. And sometimes you get into time-intensive DMs and back and forth via email or whatever communication method you choose. An easy way to tap into this talent is provide one real job post a week with the scope, the pay, the schedule, all the details that they would need to know, so you don't have to go back and forth in Messenger or an email filling in all the blanks for them. Give it to them all at once and provide an easy digital application process to leverage the organic networks and local influence of these social media and community personalities. Number 14, Ag Extension, FFA, 4-H, Farm Equipment Dealer Boards. Tapping into the more rural community, right? Farm and ranch workers bring machinery skills, dawn patrol reliability, and safety instincts naturally. It's a great place to find operators, CDL drivers, mechanics, laborers. You could also find field leads with natural authority. Some of the pros for tapping talent in this community include you're going to find people with a really strong work ethic. They're usually going to be familiar with the kind of equipment that you already use, and there's a lot of rural and community loyalty already baked into their lifestyle. Some of the downsides is often there's seasonality conflicts, and you may need to clarify wages to lure them off farm, especially if it's a family operation. An easy way to tap into this is to hit county extension events, start networking, rubbing shoulders with people, look at dealer bulletin boards, ideally before planting or harvest, to catch them in the in-between times when things aren't as time-intensive out on the land. Number 15, faith and civic build networks. This includes things like Habitat for Humanity build leaders, Team Rubicon, volunteer fire departments, things like that, right? You're going to find mission-minded people who already work safely in teams. It's a great place to find helpers, laborers, emerging leads, safety-minded foremen, logistics support, personnel like that, right? Pros, you've already got a character screen. They're out there volunteering. They're already taking care of stuff. You know what kind of character they have. Teamwork proof, right? You know they work well in teams together. And there's already community goodwill there that you can tap into. The cons, you have to work around their volunteer schedules sometimes, and there's often variable trade depth and depth of experience and skill there. One of the ways that you could tap into this is you could invite the build leaders out to a yard tryout on location at one of your sites, and then convert the standouts into immediate hires. I know I promised you 15 places for contractors to find new and top talent that you might not have thought of yet, but here's 5 bonus locations just because. You could look at permit or continuing education event venues, not the actual programs, but the venues themselves that host them, the bulletin boards that they use. It's a good way to catch active trades staying current. You could have memorandums of understanding, MOUs, for bench sharing with non-competing firms, people who do something adjacent to what you do. That enables you to keep A players earning in the off seasons. County Career Centers, American Job Centers, the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act places. You get pre-screened candidates, and you could potentially tap into potential on-the-job training funds. University Construction Management capstone classes is a great feeder for assistant PMs and estimators who respect field time. And finally, manufacturer service networks. You're going to be potentially finding service techs seeking steadier construction schedules as opposed to what they're currently doing. So, how many of these were places that you hadn't thought of yet? Let me know down in the comments. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it and subscribe for more content like this. And be sure to send it to someone else you know in the construction industry who would appreciate this content as well.